And now, dear viewers, we have the report. Watch the report and I'll be back again.
President Fattah al-Sisi has vowed to continue economic reform measures and enhance ongoing state of political openness as he addressed the public during a family iftar banquet on Saturday. The iftar is held only a few days after President al-Sisi was sworn in for a third presidential term. He pledged to provide a decent life for its people and safeguard national security. In his speech, President Sisi stated that the state's economic reform measures will focus on industry, localization, and expanding agricultural areas. These measures will also include boosting direct foreign investments and supporting the private sector. Meanwhile, Sisi affirmed his continued commitment to providing social protection measures for vulnerable segments of society. Sisi pledged his support for the state of political openness and the reform process that began with his launch of the National Dialogue in April 2022. The President emphasized his endorsement of the initial outcomes of the National Dialogue, directing the government and state institutions to support them. He also affirmed his ongoing support for empowering youth and women in political, economic, and social spheres. The President vowed to prioritize the provision of a decent quality of life for people, including by ensuring a conducive educational environment, delivering adequate health care services, and providing decent housing. The state will continue implementing strategic balance policies regarding regional and global issues based on clear national determinants and considerations of Egyptian national security dimensions. He reaffirmed the state's commitment to work towards comprehensive peace based on justice, supporting national institutions of other states, and respecting the will of the people.
Dear viewers, this was President Fattah al-Sisi who vowed to continue economic reform measures and enhance the ongoing state of political openness as he addressed the public during a family iftar banquet on Saturday. And in this context, dear viewers, we are joined on the phone by Dr. Amira Sabik, a strategic expert. A very good day, Doctor.
Very good day to you and all your audience, and happy feast.
Happy feast and wish you a wonderful one, full of family bonds and happiness. Doctor, how do you see the importance of the iftar for the Egyptian family from your own perspective?
Actually, talking about the iftar for the Egyptian family, we can say that this iftar can be considered a kind of public communication and support for the whole nation. To have emotional support is very critical as much as having informational support. The government nowadays is very keen to provide people with information, with lots of awareness, but actually during all the hardships that we are facing these days, people needed to have a kind of emotional support. This iftar was from President Sisi. He was emphasizing support for continuing an open national dialogue for an extended period with the participation of broader segments of society, especially that during this iftar, he emphasized the importance of continuing dialogue across the 7 axes of the reform, which includes economic, social, religious tracks, to deal with the challenges of the past 6 months that affected the Arab region a lot. So, as we say, it was a kind of emotional support so that people can go through their hardships with a motivation that they will be able to overcome it.
Dr. Amira, President Fattah al-Sisi in his speech addressed several points. From your own perspective and from, of course, everyone's perspective, what do you think are the most important points that we can highlight on, or that you can see that are very important messages that President Fattah al-Sisi wanted to send?
Attending the iftar and listening to his speech, we can say that he focused on 4 main points. First, which takes always the priority in his speeches, is continuing to implement economic reform measures based on the localization of industry, expansion of the agriculture area, increase of foreign direct investment, support for the private sector, and providing the necessary social protection measures for the most vulnerable classes. The second point that he really focused on was supporting the state of openness and political reform that began since he launched his call for the national dialogue in April 2022, in which he supported its initial outcomes and directed the government and state institutions to sponsor and implement, while continuing to support the youth and empower women at all levels, political, economic, and societal. The third point that he really focused on was placing the issue of building the Egyptian person at the top of the priorities of nation action, including providing the decent life program necessary for him, and he said that it was very necessary for him, and that this program really means a lot in enriching the quality of life in general by offering good education, decent health services, and decent housing. The fourth point that was very important and people really were so much interested in it is that he talked about continuing the policies of strategic balance pursued by the Egyptian state towards international and regional issues, which are determined by clear national determinants, mainly taking into account the dimensions of Egyptian national security, striving to establish comprehensive peace based on justice, supporting the institutions of national states, and respecting the will of the peoples. We can say that these were the main 4 points that President Sisi focused on during this iftar.
What is your comment on the President's continued praise of the people's role in the economic crisis?
Actually, during his talk, President Sisi said that he is committed in his new presidential term to continuing economic reform measures focused on industrial localization, agriculture expansion, increasing foreign direct investment, supporting the private sector, and providing necessary social production for vulnerable groups. If Sisi added that human development is a top priority, including ensuring a dignified life, quality education, healthcare, and adequate housing, all this will pour into the bucket of economy. He stressed that he would uphold strategic balance policies in Egypt's approach to international and regional issues, and that this will include safeguarding national security, promoting comprehensive peace based on justice, supporting national institutions, and respecting the people's will. So when he focuses on this, he makes the people feel yes, we are going on the proper way economically, and that yes, it is a crisis that we are passing through now. Everything maybe is getting inflated in prices, but this will be the crisis that by the end of it, we will see a big way of enlightenment, and people will start having a more balanced life coming out of these hardships.
The President also spoke about the form of the investment plan in the coming period. What are its most important features from your own motto, Doctor?
The focus of the coming investment period is mainly focused on building new projects that will collect a lot of people who are having a problem with finding jobs. What President Sisi and his government is trying to do in the coming period is starting new projects that gather a big number of people who are not employed now to give them employment, and this will affect their decent life and affect economically. Investment will go into the projects that will help us on the long term, and this is what we started in the previous period, but he will also start in this coming period to work on the projects that can have a short-term benefits for the people. So he will work parallelly on long-term projects and short-term projects so that he can guarantee that people can cope with the hardships until they have a better, stable, balanced life on the long term.
About the role of the national dialogue, Dr. Amira, the President renewed confidence in the outcomes of this dialogue. What are the most important recommendations made by the dialogue in its previous session?
We can say that during this meeting, President Mubarak, always, as usual, he emphasized that he is open for conversations, especially with the youth. He is very open to hear from them about new projects. We can take like Hayat Karima is a very good example for this. It's something that started by youth, and it was encouraged and supported by the government. Now the government is giving opportunities for people, or for youth especially, to start new projects, and they will find the support of the government. If we take Hayat Karima as an example for this, we can say that they started a lot of achievements under the umbrella and support of the government. So now the attitude of the government is having some other organizations to do the same, to be responsible, and to give chance for the civil responsibility or social responsibility to take place, to be side by side to the government in its efforts. And I think this will help a lot. So it will not be just the government that is working for the people, it will be the people themselves under the guidance of the government will start doing projects that help them as well.
Dr. Amira Sabik, a strategic expert, we thank you so much for this informative knowledge. We needed more time to know more from you because you're of great importance to our program today. Thank you very much. Happy Eid. We wish you a wonderful feast, a joyful, happy one. Thank you very much. A short break and we'll be back, dear viewers.